If you are hearing these words right now, let me assure you it is no coincidence. You have been guided here for a purpose beyond your understanding. Deep within your heart, you may have sensed for a while now that something incredible is on the horizon. You have felt stirrings of hope and possibility, no matter how overshadowed by doubt or adversity they might have seemed. Today, God is saying, millions are waiting for you, longing for what only you can bring into this world, and all it takes is one bold step of faith. Imagine, just for a moment, that the dreams and desires pulsing within you have been placed there by a divine hand. These aspirations are not random. They are seeds of greatness, seeds of purpose, meant to blossom into full reality if you dare to nurture them. Too often, we keep our gifts hidden, afraid of judgment, rejection, or the weight of responsibility. But now is not the time to shrink back. Now is the time to rise. Wherever you are, know that there are countless souls who need what you carry. It might be your voice, your creativity, your compassion, or your story of perseverance. You are not meant to drift through life wishing you had started that book, launched that cause, applied for that position, or stepped onto that stage. The call on your spirit is stirring more strongly than ever, and the question is, are you ready to answer? God does not speak in accidents. If you are watching or listening to this message, that means your moment has arrived. Perhaps you have prayed for a sign, for clarity or courage, and wondered when the answer would come. Take this message as your sign. You are capable of far more than you have ever imagined. Your obstacles, your trials, everything that threatened to hold you back can become your testimony and your gift to the world. By overcoming them, you reveal the power within you, a power that is waiting to be shared. Before we go further, I want to invite you to engage with this moment of destiny in a simple but meaningful way. Pause and reflect on what resonates most deeply with you right now. Then, if you feel called, do 3 things. Like this video, subscribe to support the journey ahead, and leave a comment with the number 777. By doing so, you are standing in agreement with the momentum building in your life. You are declaring that you will no longer let fear or hesitation dominate your decisions. Instead, you are embracing the truth that God has placed greatness inside you, and you are ready to let it shine. Stay until the end of this message, because the final words will carry a powerful ignition of faith and determination you do not want to miss. Millions of people may be living in silent desperation, longing for a glimmer of hope, for an example of what faith and action can do. You might be the one whose courage sparks their transformation. You might be the breakthrough they have prayed for. This is not an exaggeration. History has proven repeatedly that those who step out, even when trembling on the inside, can change countless lives. Look at the trailblazers who came before us. They were not without fear or flaws, but they knew that complacency was more terrifying than any potential failure. Their stories remind us that ordinary individuals become extraordinary when they choose to obey the stirring in their spirit. By daring to do what others only dream about, they unleash ripples of inspiration that span generations. You have the same power within you. God's plan is never random. The timing of your arrival in this exact place at this exact moment is orchestrated for maximum impact. So often we try to wait for the perfect conditions, the perfect finances, the perfect skill set, the perfect confidence level. Yet God's formula is different. He takes those who feel unqualified, shapes them through faith, and showcases His glory in their willing hearts. That is why your yes is so vital, and it is why countless hearts are waiting for what you bring. There is no stage too small or too large for you. There is no audience too humble or too grand for your purpose to speak volumes. Whether you are called to uplift one neighbor in need or to address entire nations, the spark within you is just as necessary. The measure is never about scale. It is about obedience to the calling. Every time someone listens to that prompting and steps forward, miracles happen. People find hope, find healing, find courage. And it might be you who triggers that chain reaction. God says there are millions waiting, but do not let that number intimidate you. Let it excite you. If you had even the faintest idea how many lives you could positively impact by walking in your God-given destiny, you would leap out of your seat right now, determined never to go back to hiding your gifts again. Your simple words, your creative project, your act of kindness, your innovative idea, any of these could be the very lifeline someone has prayed for. By taking one step forward, you shift not just your own future, but the futures of those watching you. We often underestimate our influence. We say to ourselves, who would listen to me? Who would care? Yet remember, the greatest movements in history often started with a single trembling voice that refused to stay silent. There is a craving in our world right now for authenticity, for truth, for genuine compassion. That craving is so strong that even one spark can ignite an unstoppable flame. You are that spark. If you sense the momentum building, pause and declare your intention in the comments with the number 777. That action, as small as it seems, is a point of contact. It symbolizes a shift in your mindset and a step toward alignment with your higher purpose. By leaving that comment, you are effectively saying, I trust there is a divine plan bigger than my fear, bigger than my hesitation, and I am ready to move. When fear tries to whisper lies, telling you that you are not enough, that you lack the resources, that your past disqualifies you, remember that these are the same deceptions countless individuals overcame before changing history. They felt those same doubts, yet persevered. Why? Because they knew this truth. It is far better to try and fail than to live haunted by the question of what might have been. Failure can be a stepping stone, but regret can be a prison. Do not let your life become shackled by what if. God is holding open a door right now, a door of new opportunities that lead to the expansion of your gifts. This door might appear in the form of a conversation, an unexpected invitation, or a stirring idea that lights up your mind in the middle of the night. Pay attention. Listen to the gentle nudges in your heart. They are not random. They are nudges of destiny guiding you along the path where you will find both deep fulfillment and the chance to impact countless lives. Millions are waiting, and yet each individual among those millions has a unique face, a unique story, a unique need. Do not think of it as a faceless crowd. Think of it as a tapestry of souls, each woven by divine hands, each longing for hope, love, insight, or encouragement. The reason your voice matters is that within this tapestry there is a place perfectly suited to the thread you carry. Only you can fill that space. And once you do, something beautiful and life-altering takes shape. You might worry about your past, about the mistakes that still echo in your mind. Let go of that worry. Some of the greatest world changers had the most complicated histories. Their past trials and missteps became the gold threads that made their message so potent. When you stand redeemed and sincere, owning both your flaws and your triumphs, you become relatable, you become real, and people resonate with real because it helps them believe they too can rise above their own setbacks. If you find yourself hesitating, uncertain if you are truly meant for something bigger, let me assure you, God does not plant these messages of expansion lightly. When you feel the stir that says, there must be more than this, it is not an empty daydream, it is a call. It is your spirit awakening to a new dimension of purpose. Answering that call might feel like stepping off a cliff, but you will not fall. You will fly, carried by the grace that unfolds whenever someone dares to trust divine timing. Take a moment and breathe in the possibility. Breathe in the idea that by this time next year, you could be in a completely different space. A space where you have initiated the project, launched the dream, published the work, or spoken the words that shift someone's entire trajectory. You could be the testimony that shows others what can happen when a person chooses faith over fear. This is not hype. This is the power of God at work, the power that turns ordinary lives into channels of extraordinary impact. And guess what? The same power that caused miracles in ancient times is still alive now. It moves through those who say yes, those who trust that the seeds God planted within them were never meant to remain dormant. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment 777 if you have not done so yet. Show that you are standing with a new resolve. This symbolic act, as simple as it is, might be the turning point from which you never look back. Sometimes the difference between stagnation and growth is merely taking a small, symbolic action that cements your decision in your own mind and in the spiritual realm. Now, let's address something else that might be holding you back: comparison. You might see others who are already walking in their calling and feel behind or unworthy. Understand this: you have your own lane, your own timing. What God plans for you cannot be stolen by another. You do not need to force or compete. Instead, celebrate the successes of others because it reaffirms what is possible for you. There is room for all who boldly step up to the plate. There is a wave of awakening happening. People everywhere are growing tired of superficial living. They crave depth, meaning, and purpose. They crave authenticity, and that is exactly what you can provide. If you were to look back on your life and trace the times you experienced heartbreak, breakthroughs, or the quietest moments of introspection, you might notice they have formed a blueprint for who you are called to be. Nothing was wasted. Every tear, every smile, every solitary fight in the dark has shaped you to stand in this very moment and say, "I am here and I am ready." Millions are waiting for you. Waiting in hospitals, in schools, in offices, in places of worship, on street corners, and in far-off villages. Some are waiting in online communities, searching for a voice that can articulate the questions or pains they have felt but never expressed. Some are waiting in your own neighborhood, hoping for a friend who understands, who listens, who encourages. There is no limit to the ways your influence can stretch out once you decide to move. If you ever doubt that you can make a difference, remember that even the smallest act of faith can create waves. Many of the world's most influential leaders did not begin with massive platforms. They started with a willingness to speak up in small rooms, to help one person at a time, to practice their craft when no one was clapping. Consistency and faithfulness in the little things eventually led them to bigger stages. The same can happen for you, if you do not give up. The path forward will not always be easy. You might face discouragement, criticism, or unexpected obstacles. These challenges are not signs that you should quit. They are confirmations that you are on a path worth pursuing. Opposition often shows up the moment you start making real progress, precisely because darkness recognizes a genuine threat. When you encounter resistance, remember your purpose, remember who sent you, and press on. God is ready to open doors you cannot imagine, doors that align with your deepest calling. The only requirement is your willingness to take the step. That step might look like reaching out to someone who can mentor you, or putting your ideas onto paper, or creating that first video or song, or stepping into a new role at work that challenges your comfort zone. The point is to move, to show with action that you believe in the seeds planted inside you. As you take that step, do not be surprised if synchronicities and confirmations begin appearing. You might stumble upon the perfect resource, meet the right collaborator, or feel a sudden surge of peace about the direction you are heading. These are not coincidences, they are divine orchestrations, tiny miracles affirming that when you move in faith, you move in power. Every time you trust the process, you tap into a realm where what once seemed impossible suddenly becomes possible. Think of your life a year from now, or even a month from now. Picture yourself having made that decision, that leap, that move. See the fruit of your obedience. Maybe you have inspired dozens, hundreds, or even millions of people. Maybe you have discovered a resilience inside yourself that you never thought you had. Maybe you have broken through the mental blocks that once kept you locked in place. The details do not matter as much as the fact that you said yes to the call. Let me remind you once more, millions are waiting. They are waiting in confusion or despair, waiting for a sign that they are not alone, waiting for proof that hope is more than a cliché. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? Your story has power, your heart has compassion, and your mind has ideas that can revolutionize lives. Do not bury them, let them shine. You might feel unprepared, but that is precisely why faith is required. If everything were mapped out perfectly, there would be no room for miracles. Sometimes you have to walk without full clarity, trusting that each step will illuminate the next. By doing so, you create space for God to show up in ways you could never have planned or orchestrated. That is how supernatural breakthroughs happen. If this resonates with your spirit, take a moment now. Close your eyes and imagine handing over all your doubts to God. Envision yourself standing at a threshold with a light beckoning you forward. Know that once you cross over, life as you know it will never be the same, and that is a wonderful thing, because the you of tomorrow, the you who boldly stepped out, is stronger, clearer, and more fulfilled than you ever dared to hope. Now, open your eyes and take that symbolic action. Like this message if it stirs your heart. Subscribe if you sense this journey aligns with who you are becoming, and comment 777 as your declaration that you are ready for a new chapter. Your willingness to take even the smallest action is a testament to your readiness. It sends a signal that fear no longer dictates your path. People may doubt you. They might not see what you see or believe as you believe. That is okay. Your calling did not come from them, so their disbelief does not cancel what has been set in motion in your spirit. In fact, your progress might be the very thing that later leads them to open their own hearts to new possibilities. Sometimes we must walk alone before others join us on the path. Trust that the right support will appear at the right time. One of the greatest gifts you can ever give someone is your own transformation. When they see you blossom, when they witness your courage, your integrity, and the reality of what can happen when someone gives their all, they will be moved. It might awaken in them dreams that have long been dormant. It might rekindle their faith in a good and guiding God. They will look at you and say, if that person can do it, then maybe I can too. Therefore, do not be afraid to be an example. Do not be afraid to shine in your uniqueness. Sometimes we hide our gifts, afraid we will stand out too much or appear self-absorbed. But a light that is hidden serves no one. A lighthouse is meant to shine across the waves, guiding ships away from peril and toward safety. In the same way, your gifts are meant to be visible, to serve and guide those who are sailing through storms of their own. Let this moment be a turning point. Release the excuses, the overthinking, and the paralysis analysis. You do not need all the details to move forward. You just need the faith to take one step, trusting that God will meet you there. You will be amazed at what a single obedient step can set into motion. Doors will open, resources will flow, and you will find yourself more capable than you ever realized. All the events that led you here, both triumphs and trials, are part of a grand tapestry. God can weave every strand into something majestic if you do not lose heart. Your pain can become someone else's breakthrough. Your questions can lead to revelations that guide multitudes. Your resilience can show others that endurance is possible and worthwhile. Even if doubt creeps in, even if you have moments where you wonder if you heard correctly, keep going. Persist through the noise of skepticism, both external and internal. Recall every moment in your past where an unexpected blessing appeared, where a door swung open against all odds, where you felt unmistakably guided. Let those memories be your anchor. And never underestimate the power of humble dedication. Slow progress is still progress. Small steps taken consistently will carry you 1,000 miles. Now, take a deep breath. If you have not yet commented 777, consider doing it now, sealing this commitment in your heart. The ocean of people waiting for hope is vast, but your light can reach further than you know. By stepping out, you allow something greater than yourself to move through you. You align with a divine plan that has been waiting for your yes to unfold. At this point, you might feel both excitement and uncertainty. That tension is normal. Great things are rarely birthed without a blend of eagerness and trembling. Embrace it. Let the adrenaline push you forward rather than hold you back. When you look back on this crossroads, you will realize it was here, in the midst of holy restlessness, that a new story began. Take another breath, pause, and let the truth of this moment soak into your heart. If you can feel the gentle yet insistent tug, that is the nudge of God calling you onward. Let all the questions and insecurities that once held you back come to rest for a moment. Instead of fighting them, simply acknowledge that they are there, but they do not have the final say. You are here in this exact point in time, with every thread of your past woven into who you have become. And God is saying, millions are waiting for you. Take this one step. Allow your imagination to roam a bit. Picture yourself standing on a vast stage, not necessarily a physical one, but the stage of your destiny. Before you stretches a crowd of souls, people brimming with untold stories, hidden pain and silent dreams. Some of them have faces etched with sorrow, others wear timid hope, and still others hold hearts that have grown cold with cynicism. Yet they have all paused, collectively, looking toward you. They do not even know exactly why. Only that there is something you carry, some spark of faith, some authentic light that they need to witness. You may not realize it, but your willingness to step out can revive what has nearly died in them. The belief that life can be beautiful, that miracles still happen, that love and goodness still conquer darkness. This is why you must not hide your gift. There is no formula for stepping out in faith, but there is a divine pattern that emerges when you align your heart with God's whispers. You do not have to wait for the perfect conditions or the perfect script. Your willingness to begin, right where you are, is enough. In fact, it might be the very imperfection, the raw, unfiltered honesty of your situation that makes your step so powerful. People do not connect with impossible standards. They connect with genuine journeys. Sometimes the crack in your facade is precisely where God's grace shines through most brilliantly. Think back to times you felt that electric certainty that something was aligning in your favor. Maybe it was a meeting that felt destined, or a sudden peace in the middle of chaos. These moments are not random. They are like divine breadcrumbs, guiding you closer to the path where your impact will multiply. Each time you notice one of these signposts, it is God saying, yes, keep going. And the more you learn to trust these signposts, the clearer they become. But let's be real, fear is cunning. It masquerades as wisdom, telling you it is better to wait until you are perfectly ready or until you have more resources or acceptance. Yet behind that cautious facade, fear locks you out of a realm where extraordinary things happen. Do not give fear that power. The truth is, nobody who ever did something life-changing felt 100% ready at the start. They simply reached a point where staying the same became more uncomfortable than forging ahead. In God's eyes, your value was never determined by your accolades or achievements. The reason millions might be waiting for you is not because of how polished you are, but because He has designed you to carry a piece of the puzzle that completes others. Your perspective, your experiences, your heartfelt convictions, these are treasures that, if kept hidden, deprive the world of something it desperately needs. Never discount what you have been through. What you once saw as your greatest struggle may become the richest field of wisdom for someone else. And your heartbreak might become the key that unlocks another's healing. Whenever doubt whispers, "But so many others are already out there doing great things," remind yourself that there is no duplication in God's kingdom. No one else can deliver the message or fulfill the mission that you, with your particular life story, can. God is infinitely creative. He never mass produces destinies. He shapes each person in an unrepeatable way, giving each a unique realm of influence. Even if 10,000 voices are speaking about faith, hope, or love, yours can resonate with someone who could not hear those other 9,999. That is the beauty of divine orchestration. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. You take a step in faith. Perhaps you start the business that has been on your heart, or you launch the community initiative, or you become that voice of encouragement online or in your neighborhood. At first, maybe only a few people notice. Maybe the impact seems modest. But you keep going, fueled by the knowledge that God is at work beyond what you can see. Slowly, word begins to spread. People share testimonies of how they were touched, helped, or inspired by what you did. A sense of momentum builds. Doors open that you did not even know existed. You find yourself speaking to or reaching people you never thought you would encounter. Lives shift, hearts awaken, and all because you answered the nudge to move forward when logic might have told you to stay put. That scenario is not just an idle fantasy. It is a glimpse of what can unfold when someone becomes a vessel for God's purpose. History overflows with examples of individuals who started small, uncertain but willing. They dared to speak, to create, to stand up. Each of them had plenty of reasons to wait or to doubt, but they moved anyway. Their stories have become testimonies that ring through the ages, and your story can do the same. Still, you might think, who am I to dream of making such an impact? But that thought is exactly where the power of surrender comes into play. It is not about who you are in human terms. It is about who God is and what He can accomplish through a yielded heart. If you try to measure yourself by worldly standards, education, background, finances, you might miss the spiritual dimension that dwarfs all these factors. God repeatedly uses those whom the world deems small or insignificant to demonstrate a profound truth. It is His power, not their status, that carries the day. When the challenges do come, and they will, view them not as signs that you are on the wrong path, but as evidence that you are stirring up something real. Darkness often resists the arrival of light. Adversity can be a catalyst that strengthens your resolve, teaching you lessons you could not have learned otherwise. It can force you to dig deeper into faith, revealing a fortitude that was lying dormant. This is why so many of those who achieve amazing breakthroughs have behind-the-scenes stories of trials and tribulations. It was in the fire that their purpose was refined. Look at your own life. You likely have already endured storms. You might have faced betrayal, loss, or seasons where you could not see a way forward. Yet here you stand, reading or hearing this, able to testify that you made it through. Something resilient exists in you that the storm could not destroy. Now ask yourself, could it be that all of that was preparing me for something larger? If you sense a yes in your spirit, then do not disregard it. That yes is a seed with the potential to flourish in ways you cannot yet imagine. By now, you might feel a flutter of excitement intermingled with trepidation. That is a sign you are on the cusp of transformation. Let that emotion propel you, not paralyze you. In moments like these, faith is spelled R-I-S-K, not foolish or reckless risk, but the kind of daring that acknowledges, if God is for you, who can truly stand against you? This is not arrogance, but a bold humility that rests in the knowledge that the one who orchestrates galaxies also has an intricate plan for your life. And about those millions waiting for you, they are not expecting perfection. They are waiting for someone real. They are waiting for a reflection of how God's love can operate through a genuine human being, not a flawless angel. In your authenticity, you give them permission to hope again. By showing that you are willing to be vulnerable, you allow them to believe that they too can face their fears and succeed in the calling burning in their hearts. Yes, you might be criticized. Yes, people might mock or misunderstand you. That is part of stepping out. But do not let the naysayers set your agenda. The opinions of people, especially those who have not dared to do anything bold themselves, are fleeting. The ones you are really called to serve are those whose souls are open, who are hungry for a voice that resonates with truth. For every critic, there are many more who will silently thank God that you did not stay silent. This script you are listening to or reading is not an accident. You could have scrolled away or chosen something else to watch. Yet here you are, immersed in these words, feeling them tug at your heartstrings. That alone says something. It suggests that beneath your routine, your daily obligations, there is a stirring of destiny that will not rest until it finds expression. No matter how hard you try to push it aside, it circles back, whispering, "There's more for you. You have not yet reached your fullest expression." If you have not yet commented 777 and you feel the resonance of this message in your soul, consider doing so now. Think of it as putting a small stake in the ground, claiming this moment as a pivot point. Whether your path forward is crystal clear or hazy, that simple act becomes a tangible agreement with the move of the Spirit in your life. Keep in mind, stepping out does not always mean an abrupt change of everything around you. It can start as an internal shift, deciding that you will no longer shrink back in meetings at work, or that you will speak life into your family, or that you will devote time each morning to nurture the vision God has placed in your heart. Gradual changes often form the foundation for monumental breakthroughs. Every brick you lay carefully and faithfully becomes part of a larger cathedral you are building. Patience matters. The world can sometimes feed us the lie that everything must be instant or else it loses value. But divine timing is not the same as human impatience. Look at how a seed planted in the earth must first be hidden, watered, nurtured, and eventually break through the soil, inch by inch, before it fully flowers. That does not make its final bloom any less miraculous. In the same way, your process might feel slow at times, but do not underestimate what can happen when God's hand rests on your diligence. Reflect also on the effect your step of faith could have on your close relationships. By moving forward, you might inadvertently free someone you love to pursue their own calling. Courage is contagious. When you rise, you create a vacuum that pulls others upward. They watch you conquer fears, and they realize they can face their own. This is how communities transform, from one courageous individual to the next, until the entire atmosphere is charged with possibility. Imagine waking up each morning with that sense of alignment, aware that you are walking in step with a divine plan. You go to bed at night with a deep peace, knowing you are doing what you were born to do. There is a fulfillment that transcends the ups and downs of daily life. Even challenges lose their sting when you know they serve a higher purpose. That is the beauty of living in your calling. You gain a resilience that carries you through the lows because your eyes are fixed on what is higher than your circumstances. At this point, you might wonder, where do I even begin? The answer can be simpler than you think. Start with what you have in your hands right now. Perhaps you have a small platform on social media. Use it to share uplifting messages. Maybe you have a knack for writing. Start putting your thoughts on paper, even if just a few paragraphs a day. If you have a heart for serving, volunteer in a local community that resonates with your passion. The key is action, no matter how small, because action in alignment with divine leading triggers further revelation. Each step you take clarifies the next. There can also be practical steps. Research ways to grow your skill set or cultivate connections. Look for mentors who have walked a similar path. Read books, attend seminars, or watch tutorials that fine-tune your gifts. Faith is not opposed to preparation. It actually thrives when you prepare with expectancy. Think of Noah building the ark before the flood, or Joseph storing grain before the famine. They were not idle dreamers, they were active visionaries. You might also consider surrounding yourself with individuals who champion your growth. If your current circle does not support you, ask God to bring new voices into your life. Sometimes the people around you struggle to see beyond the familiar version of you. That does not make them bad, it just means they cannot be your principal guides for the road ahead. Be open to new friendships, new environments, new experiences that can nurture what is awakening inside of you. Keep your heart soft, too. Avoid letting pride or defensiveness rob you of valuable insights. You will never outgrow the need for humility. Pride can creep in stealthily, especially when success begins to manifest. Always remember, your gifts are from God, your opportunities come by grace, and your achievements serve a purpose larger than your ego. That mindset will keep you anchored, even when accolades or criticism come your way. Think also about the legacy you want to leave behind. Legacy is not just for people with wealth or titles. It is for anyone who imparts something meaningful to the next generation. Could your step of faith pave a smoother path for those who come after you? Could your courage become part of the inheritance you pass on to your children or to young souls who look up to you? Every generational shift starts with one person who decides that limiting beliefs and patterns end here and a new story begins now. And do not forget the power of prayer. Prayer is not a perfunctory ritual. It is the lifeline connecting you to the source of all inspiration and guidance. Through prayer, you can gain clarity about which steps to take and when to take them. You can also fortify yourself against discouragement because you will sense God's companionship in real time. Prayer can be as simple as an honest conversation or as structured as a daily routine. The form is less important than the authenticity. Let us step beyond the boundary of mere motivation. The spiritual reality is that your calling is not just about personal fulfillment. It is woven into God's redemptive plan for the world. You might not see how your individual role fits into the grand tapestry, but rest assured, it does. Sometimes only in retrospect do we see the footprints that show how our actions influenced people we never met. God's perspective is infinitely wider than ours, and He can orchestrate your life's threads to intersect with others in ways that form a beautiful, purposeful pattern. If you feel a sense of readiness blossoming inside you, do not smother it. Fan that flame. Reflect in a journal. Speak affirmations over your future. Delve into scripture that encourages boldness. Share your intentions with someone you trust, someone who will stand with you in prayer and accountability. And yes, keep an eye out for those divine breadcrumbs, unexpected hints and nudges that confirm you are on track. You may also want to practice gratitude as you go. Gratitude transforms your posture from, "Why haven't I succeeded yet?" to, "Thank you for what you are already doing." It opens your eyes to the blessings that are already in motion and keeps your spirit from growing impatient. Gratitude is a powerful magnet for more blessings, and it keeps you aligned with the truth that every good and perfect gift comes from above. If at times you stumble or your efforts do not yield the results you hoped for, do not view that as a sign to quit. Every journey has obstacles. There could be doors that remain closed because the timing is not yet ripe, or because there is a more suitable opportunity ahead. When you trust that God orders your steps, you learn to see each detour or delay as part of the process, not as a final defeat. You keep going, refining your approach, and staying sensitive to the leading that never fails. The day will come, maybe sooner than you think, when you look back in amazement at how far you have traveled from this pivotal moment. You will recall the butterflies in your stomach, the uncertainty you wrestled with, and the prayerful decision that launched a wave of transformation. You will see how the seeds you planted grew into a shelter for many, how your voice became an anthem for hope, or how your service bridged gaps that seemed insurmountable. You will marvel at how your step of faith reverberated across countless lives. Never doubt that you are in the midst of a divine story, one that extends well beyond your lifespan. Sometimes your greatest impact might not even be fully realized until after you have moved on, but that is okay, because living in alignment with your purpose is its own reward. The sense of partnership with the Creator, the knowledge that you are contributing to something eternal, these things nourish your soul in ways no fleeting thrill can match. Do you sense the excitement coursing through your veins right now? That is the pulse of destiny, the hum of possibility. Breathe it in, let it wash away the timid excuses that have anchored you for too long. You are needed, chosen, anointed for this particular hour. What you bring, nobody else can replicate, and that is exactly why God orchestrated for you to hear this message. It might be the push you have been waiting for, or the confirmation you needed after a season of questioning. Should you decide to keep moving forward, expect that your perspective on almost everything will begin to shift. The mundane might start to glow with significance, because you will see how each moment, each encounter, each resource can fit into the tapestry of your calling. Problems that once appeared insurmountable will lose their power to intimidate you, because you will measure them against the vastness of God's resources, not merely against your own strength. Also, watch how quickly the spiritual atmosphere around you changes. Doubts that once whispered incessantly may still try to visit, but they will find a different version of you, a version steeped in the confidence that if God is for you, who can stand against you? That shift in your energy will be palpable, and people around you may comment on how you seem different, more focused, more alive. Indeed, you will be. Every day you wake up with this renewed sense of purpose will sharpen your spiritual ears to hear God's guidance more clearly. You might receive new creative ideas or sudden insights about how to solve problems. You might feel led to reach out to certain people at just the right time. Doors that were once firmly shut could open wide because you have aligned yourself with the flow of divine favor. Yes, it can be that real, that concrete. However, let this be a gentle reminder: guard against complacency. Once you experience a taste of success or clarity, do not settle. Keep asking, "What's next, Lord?" Growth is ongoing, and there is always a deeper well to draw from. Every season has lessons, expansions, and new depths of faith waiting for you. It is a continual journey, not a one-time event. That is why humility is key, because a teachable spirit remains in sync with God's ever-evolving plan. Let your heart also remain soft toward those who do not understand your journey. People will question your intentions, doubt your authenticity, or scoff at your optimism. Bless them anyway. Your grace toward them might be the only picture of unconditional love they have ever seen. Sometimes, seeds of transformation are planted in the hearts of skeptics by witnessing genuine humility and unwavering kindness. Do not be discouraged by their reactions. Trust that God can do wonders in any heart given time. Perhaps by now you are feeling the weight of destiny in a new way. That weight is not meant to crush you. It is meant to stabilize you, like roots that keep a tree grounded. Embrace it. and you will find that your sense of identity grows stronger. You will not chase after fleeting validations or external approval, because you will be anchored in a God-given mission that transcends the chatter of the crowd. In the quiet moments, especially when the noise of the world fades, listen carefully. You might hear that still, small voice reminding you that you are deeply loved, fully equipped, and called for such a time as this. Everything else, every resource, every open door, every connection will align under that truth if you keep your heart and mind open. Now, if you still have not commented 777, do so if you feel compelled. This is not about magical numbers, but about declaring, even in a simple, symbolic way, that you are in agreement with a shift in your life. You are stating that you will no longer remain on the sidelines, but will step forward, trusting that God will do exceedingly abundantly above all you can ask or imagine. Understand that in this process of stepping out, you may feel waves of emotion, hope, fear, anticipation, uncertainty. That is natural. Do not interpret your emotional ebb and flow as a sign that you are off track. Emotions come and go. Purpose endures. Faith means choosing to move forward even when emotion wanes, because you are rooted in conviction, not just fleeting passion. If your mind starts racing with the question, "What if I fail?" remind yourself that failure is not fatal in God's economy. Mistakes can be reframed as lessons. Even if things do not go as you envisioned, you might discover a new path, a better approach, or an unexpected partnership. The worst thing you could do is never try at all. Even partial progress is progress. When you do taste victory, when something you attempt takes off, when a life is changed, when you see the tangible fruit of your efforts, pause in gratitude. Praise the one who made it possible. Let your success be a platform to exalt the goodness and faithfulness of God, rather than a pedestal for your own ego. By doing so, you keep yourself aligned and avoid the pitfalls of pride. Consider writing down what you are experiencing right now, those stirrings, those ideas, those prayers. Journaling can help you track the journey, and later you can look back and see the tapestry of miracles that formed. In the thick of the process, it can be hard to see how far you have come, but when you have a record of God's faithfulness, it becomes a wellspring of confidence and praise that you can revisit whenever doubt returns. As these words find their place in your heart, imagine them weaving together with your own thoughts, solidifying a new perspective. You might notice that the phrase, "millions are waiting for you," no longer feels abstract. It feels personal, tangible, a mission statement etched into your spirit. If you heed this call, if you move with courage and persistence, you will look back one day and realize that indeed, countless lives have been touched by your obedience. In that day, you might weep tears of awe and gratitude. You will see that every tear you shed, every late night you wrestled with your insecurities, and every step of faith you took, no matter how wobbly, were ingredients in a glorious outcome. People you have never met might approach you, in person or through messages, to say, "Your story changed my life," or "Because of you, I dared to believe again." That is the harvest of seeds planted in faith. So do not hold back. Your moment is now. The world does not need another shadow of someone else's dream. It needs the luminous reality of you. Your voice, your passion, your unique imprint. If you are still standing on the edge, let this serve as your final reassurance. Jump, trusting that the arms of the Almighty will catch you, guide you, and sustain you. For in the realm of faith, a leap is never just a blind fall. It is a surrender to the wind of the Spirit, which will carry you to the destination prepared for you. And if along the way you find yourself trembling or second-guessing, Remember that the same God who began this good work in you will be faithful to complete it. You do not walk alone. Legions of angels, living and celestial, stand ready to assist those who commit their ways to the Lord. You are surrounded by more help than you know, and the entire universe resonates with the sound of one who steps into divine purpose. This is not a conclusion, but a continuation. You are stepping from this moment into a future that calls your name. The next scenes of your life story are waiting to be written, and they hinge on this decision. So go forth, unburdened by regrets, fueled by hope, and anchored in love. Millions are waiting for you. Take this one step and watch how the world shifts under the weight of your yes. Take a deep breath and allow your heart to settle into this moment. You have come so far, in ways that may not always be obvious from the outside, but your spirit knows every trial and triumph that brought you here. If you pause to reflect, you might notice threads of grace woven through even the darkest chapters of your life. Each one has led you to a place where you can finally hear a message like this and have it resonate to your core. You might not have asked for the call you feel stirring, but deep down you sense that something larger than yourself is moving, gently but persistently pulling you toward a new horizon. God is saying that millions are waiting for you, waiting for the way you express love, the way you stand in truth, the way you speak hope into chaos. All it requires is one courageous step. You may wonder, how can I impact millions? I am just one person. Yet if you look at the stories of those who shifted entire eras, most of them felt unremarkable at the outset. They had insecurities, flaws, and stumbling moments. Often they questioned themselves. But something within them refused to let the question, "What if?" go unanswered. They took a step, then another, and before long, what began as an uncertain seed of potential grew into a harvest of influence they could never have manufactured by sheer will. It was purpose meeting willingness, guided by divine grace. Remember that in this present moment, there are people hoping for answers. Some are in hospitals, clinging to the promise of better days. Some are in boardrooms, looking for genuine leadership instead of empty ambition. Some are in classrooms, longing for someone who understands their hidden dreams. And some are simply online, scrolling through endless noise, craving a voice that carries substance. They may not articulate it this way, but they yearn for a spark that assures them goodness is still alive in the world. Your uniqueness, your experiences, and your faith can be that spark. When life's burdens become too heavy, it is tempting to think you have nothing left to give. But sometimes the very place where you feel most depleted can turn into the greatest source of your influence. Pain, once transformed, becomes a channel through which empathy and compassion can flow. Your scars no longer symbolize defeat. They become testimonies of survival. If you have wrestled with doubt, depression, or any manner of struggle, then you understand the loneliness it can bring. Imagine how meaningful it would be for someone else to discover they are not alone, that there is someone who has walked through similar shadows and still believes in the possibility of light. That is why your decision to move forward, to share your story or act on your calling, holds greater weight than you may realize. It is not merely a personal choice, it is a beacon for others. Each time you express faith in action, you pave a path that someone else can follow. Imagine a winding trail in a dark forest. Without footprints to guide the way, many would remain lost. But if you leave footprints of your own journey, you guide those who come behind you, giving them confidence to press on. That is how destinies intersect, and how a single voice can resonate far beyond its immediate circle. You might still feel a twinge of unworthiness, thinking you do not have the right background or credentials. Yet consider how often God's wisdom flips human expectations. Throughout history, individuals deemed unqualified by worldly standards became monumental agents of change, precisely because they were open, humble, and reliant on a higher power. They did not rely on their own resumes. They relied on grace. They relied, if you choose to do the same, do not be surprised when doors open that would normally remain sealed. It is easy to wait for a grand sign, some extraordinary miracle that leaves no doubt as to what you should do. Sometimes that happens. More often, though, the signs are subtle. A friend might unknowingly speak words that confirm something you have been pondering. A random opportunity might appear just when you need it, as if orchestrated behind the scenes. Or perhaps you keep noticing the same theme in different settings. A certain phrase, a cause, or a name that keeps resurfacing. These are not coincidences. They are gentle nudges to your heart. If you are still here, absorbing these words, then perhaps this entire message is one of those nudges. It is a reminder that your present station is not your final destination. It is an invitation to believe that you can move from hesitation to momentum. In doing so, you shift from daydreaming about the future to actively creating it. Think of someone learning to dance. At first, each step feels awkward, but the body gradually finds its rhythm. In the same way, your soul might at first wobble as it tries something new, but it will eventually find its beat, especially if you persist with trust. Many people go through life in a perpetual state of waiting for the right conditions, the right people, the right mood. Yet the individuals who break that cycle realize that often you must act while conditions are imperfect. Like planting seeds when the weather looks uncertain, you put faith in the ground and trust that something will bloom in due time. If you constantly wait for flawless circumstances, you risk never planting at all. And seeds that remain in a pouch, never sown, will never become the bountiful harvest they were meant to be. Every step of faith stands on a foundation of courage. But courage is not the absence of fear, it is the refusal to let fear dictate your choices. The moment you decide that your calling is more important than your comfort, fear's hold weakens. Yes, it might still whisper in the background, listing all the reasons you could fail, but your commitment to the journey drowns out that whisper. You realize that even if you stumble, stumbling forward is better than standing still, paralyzed by what-ifs. Picture yourself a few months from now. You have begun. Maybe your project is still in its early stages, or your idea is just starting to gain momentum, but you feel more alive than you have in ages. Challenges arise, no doubt about that, but you face them with a sense of purpose that you lacked before. Each small win becomes fuel, and each setback becomes a teacher. The nights where you doubt yourself become opportunities to lean into prayer, to recalibrate and remember why you started in the first place. Through it all, you sense a higher strength coursing through your veins, reminding you that this is not a solo endeavor. You are co-laboring with the divine. Now extend that vision further. Imagine the moment your actions reverberate to someone you have never met, a stranger in another town, or even another country who stumbles upon your work, your testimony, or your outreach. Perhaps they find a post you wrote or watch a video you created at exactly the moment their hope was running on empty. Maybe they read a line that sparks something in them, bridging a gap they thought was uncrossable. You might never know the full story, but rest assured these ripples are real. Invisible to the naked eye, they carry the power of transformation from one heart to another. That is why it is so important not to discount small beginnings. A single conversation, a brief act of kindness, or a short piece of writing can catalyze a profound shift. Over time, these small beginnings can gather into a movement, fueled by authenticity and guided by the Spirit. The greatest changes in the world often start in humble settings, a small group of friends sharing ideas, a personal blog that unexpectedly goes viral, or a grassroots project that addresses a local need and ends up influencing a global narrative. When you feel weariness seep into your bones, and it will at times, remember that rest is part of the rhythm. Rest is not defeat, it is refueling. God does not call you to burn out in the process of answering a call. Instead, you are invited to find a sustainable pace, one that honors your well-being as much as the mission. In that place of rest, you can hear divine whispers more clearly, receive fresh ideas, and let your soul breathe. Busy striving can drown out clarity, while a pause can usher in new revelations. Another beautiful outcome of your willingness to act is that it can unlock the gifts of those around you. Sometimes people around you have gifts they have never dared to explore because they have seen no examples of boldness in their immediate circles. But if you start moving, it may embolden them to do the same. By setting an example of faith in motion, you become a catalyst for collective growth. Communities are revived when even one person chooses to stand in the light. That single decision can ripple through families, friendships, and entire communities, stirring dormant talents and callings in others. You might worry about being misunderstood, especially if your path diverges from what friends or family expect. But understand that being misunderstood can be a natural companion to visionary steps. It is not your job to convince every skeptic. Your job is to stay true to what you know in your soul. Over time, some of the doubters might see the fruit of your actions and change their tune. Even if they never do, you will have lived in alignment with truth rather than fear, which is a victory in itself. If you feel tension inside because you want both security and purpose, recognize that you are not alone. Many wrestle with the desire for a comfortable life and the hunger for a life of significance. Yet comfort alone rarely satisfies that deeper longing. There is a reason you feel unsettled by the idea of just coasting through life. It is because something in you was meant to shape the world, not just absorb its offerings. Embracing this tension can be the catalyst for true transformation. You can still be wise and prudent, but you do not have to let caution suppress your calling. You might be thinking of the practical steps: finances, resources, connections. It is true that these matters are important, but do not let them overshadow the power of faith and creativity. Solutions can appear in ways that defy logic, but they often appear once you have already begun, not while you are merely contemplating. As you move forward, unexpected doors can open, benefactors or collaborations can emerge. Sometimes an idea you had never considered surfaces right when you need it. That is the realm of providence, where the natural and the supernatural dance together.